Another Tech Tuesday. It's number 2 if you're counting, which it's not really hard to count when there are only 2, right? But anyway, tonight I'm so excited because last week we talked about how you could take a free Microsoft tool called Sway. And if you didn't get it, again, it's sway.com. You can just go over there. Or if you have an Office 365 account, it's accessible either on what we lovingly call the waffle, or it's accessible on your tiles right here on your apps. So I'm going to go ahead and open that because we're going to need it in a little bit. But we're going to talk tonight, kind of taking that a step further. I had a good question from Jen Hall. So if you're on here, Jennifer, then shout out to you. But I had a good question from her about, how do you actually use Excel to do some conditional formatting? So I thought, wouldn't it be good for me to show you start to finish how I made my habit tracker in Excel? I'm using Excel Online. You will always have more options in the full version of a program. So if you are someone who, has the full version of Office 2016, and you don't like what I do here, you can use the full version. But what I'm going to show you works great from just the online. And I love that because we're going to take online Excel and embed it in online Sway. So you about ready? Let's get started. Give me just a minute. I've had a lot of things open. And I'm going to take you into my live habit tracker because I've got some steps written down there for you. And this might be a good thing to take a screenshot of. So if you're online and you don't want to miss anything, then you might want to hop over and just take a screenshot there. Do, 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 do. I always have to sing the Jeopardy song when I'm waiting. Or Any Day Now. That's my other one. Okay, so here it pops up, and I mentioned my habits. You guys are going to laugh at me because I have really crazy habits that I wanted to track this year, and I'm going to erase that one because I just want to show you from scratch. So when you first come into Excel Online, you're going to be in your viewing mode, not editing mode. So you're going to want to come back up here and go to edit workbook, but edit in browser is how you're going to be able to follow along exactly with me. Okay. When you edit in browser, one cool thing that OneDrive or Excel Online does for you is it saves automatically, but what it does not do is title automatically. So you'll always want to click up here in your black toolbar, and when you do, you can change the title to whatever you wish, and as soon as you hit enter, that title is saved. Now, for some reason, Excel of all the online programs does not acknowledge, it doesn't say the word saved here, but just know if you've clicked enter, it is saved. You will not, when you try to go find file save, you won't see it. Like if I click, oh, where's the save button? It's saving automatically. So that's a really cool benefit of working online as well. So what I've done is I have created a habit tracker, and I want to walk you through exactly how I did it so that you can replicate. Okay, so I'm going to let you see mine first, and then we're going to walk step by step. And again, if you want to take a screenshot, I'll pause there just for a minute and let you do that little screenshot. So this is really simple, and if you're somebody who's an Excel wizard, you might think, Susie, this is too simple for me, but I'm going for simple. Tech Tips with Susie is all about what can I teach that will be a tip that somebody can take away and say, oh, I could do that, and I could use that in my classroom. So even though I'm showing you habit tracker tonight, and that could be an activity you could have your students do, which I think would be fabulous. I'm thinking of high school health teachers. A lot of times they'll do a project where they will say, track how you spend your time for a week. But anybody who needs to do something with math, Excel is your friend. Or if you need to make certificates, Excel is your friend. I'll try to hit some of my favorite things of Excel, just the basics, as we're in here tonight. So I think you've had enough time if you want to take a little snip or a screenshot. I said screenshot if you're on your phone, but obviously the snipping tool is fabulous as well. So we're going to walk through just step by step how I created this. First of all, you want to have numbers on for the days of the month, okay? So clearly we have 31 days in the month. I numbered them bottom to top because I want to see my chart rising up. If you want yours to go side to side, you could do that as well. But we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to open a new sheet. So again, we can try this all together. If you want to follow along with me and you don't have a free account, then let me help you get one of those quickly too. So if you go to live.office.com, I believe, you know what, I'm just going to say free Office 365 account to be safe. I have this link written down for you, but I just don't want to try to remember it off the top of my head, okay? So I'm going to click on the one that says Office for Students and Teachers. So it's products.office.com, but you can just search for it like I just did, but that'll help you know that you've clicked the right one. And when you click that, if you were a student or a teacher, you get Office 365 for free. I showed that in another video, but I just wanted to remind you. All you have to do is put in a legit school email address. So sorry, my non-teacher friends, if you're watching this, you can't get it for free, but your children can. So if they have a school email address, they're sharing a computer with you, have them put it in here. So you get it for free. And when you do, you will have Excel online, okay? So I've already made a January tab, and I'm gonna come right here and I'm gonna make a new sheet on my Excel spreadsheet. You know what you're doing because if you hover right there, it says new sheet. So plus sign, and what was our first task? It was to number top to bottom. So I'm going to go down to the 31st row, and I'm just going to start numbering opposites. So here I go. This won't be too fun to watch. But if you're working along with me, then you won't just have to watch. You can actually do. You know what else? If you're a cheater and you're like, Susie, just send me yours. As long as you watch me do the process, I will be happy to well, I skipped to 12 somehow. As long as you watch the process with me, I will be happy to share my sheet with you. If you're like, I don't want to make my own. But I don't know about you. There's something kind of relaxing about doing a monotonous job, you know? So 18, 19, 20, 21, we're getting there. 23, 3 does not work. And there is a shortcut for numbering top to bottom, but I don't know of one from numbering bottom to top. So thus I am painstakingly typing in all these numbers. Okay. 29, 30. Just for you, because I could have just copied my own sheet. Y'all have lost my mind. I remember when I lost my mind. I forgot to tell y'all, this is also singing with Susie, because I will break out in a song. That's just a characteristic. Okay? So I've got them all numbered. Check. I'm going to go back over to my directions here just to remind you and remind me. Now I want to turn them bold. I just like how that looks. Okay? So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to highlight. You will always know your numbers are highlighted because you will see a green box around them. And just a note, the first cell of whatever range you highlight will always just look white. I know that looks weird, like it's not highlighted, but you know it's highlighted because of this green outline around the whole thing. Okay? So how do I turn those bold? Well, my favorite way is to say Control B. Okay? That's your shortcut for bold. But you could also come up here and touch the B. So let's try that one more time. I'm going to do Control B to unbold and now Control B again. So B as in boy as in bold. Okay? Next step, friends. Now we're going, you know what? I'm going to X these off as we go. Don't you like a good sense? You know what? Even better than that. Oh, yeah. We're going to strike through. Excel has a strike through up here. So let's strike them out. Strike it up. Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, what's next? We're going to add categories on row 32. Now, those I am going to copy because I don't think I can remember all these from one sheet to the next. But I want you to think of a manageable number of habits for you, things that you would track daily. You're not going to think of things like start a new business. That's not a habit, and it's not something you could track daily. Now, if your goal is to start a new business, I know I've had some friends launch some this year, which is so exciting. You might want to write down your steps, your habits that you do daily that lead to that, okay? But in the meantime, I have highlighted over these. I can tell because look, there's my green outline. While they're highlighted, I'm going to use another favorite shortcut, Control C, to copy. I know I've copied because people call this the running ants. So when you see the ants go marching one by one, you know it's copied. I'm going to pop over to my new sheet. I'm going to go down right below and to the right of cell A32. So I'm on B32 here. Cells have an address in Excel. So once I get there, I'm going to hit Control V to paste, okay? And oh my gosh, they're so smushed. What are we going to do? Don't worry, I have a solution. So I've pasted those, and now I can just deselect them by, let's see, Control V. I think I can just, if I paste them back over here as well, I think that, yes, I just repasted them on top of each other to make the copy symbol go away. Okay, we get to cross something else off. Now, guys, I know that you probably know how to widen columns in Excel, but I don't know if you know how to do the double click trick. That's what I'm going to call it. So I'm going to go back to my sheet, and where these looked all smushed together, let me teach you the most amazing trick. If ever you are hovering in between two columns, so I want you to notice, here's my cursor now. It's a big fat cursor. If I hover between B and C, I get this two-way arrow with the double lines. Can you see that? If I do two fast clicks while I have that cursor with the arrows, it widens the column to the width of the widest item in the column, if that made any sense. It will expand the column to fit the widest item, okay? I'm going to repeat that process over here. Or I think, if I recall correctly, if I highlight all the columns I want to widen and double click in between any of them, oh, I learned that from Susan Dreschel. Everything I know about Excel, well, a lot of what I know about Excel I learned from Susan, so shout out to her. So anyway, you highlight all the columns you want to widen and just double click between any of them and it'll do all at the same time. So if you're following along with me, I'll give you just a minute to do that while I go back over and I scratch out another item and applaud myself for remembering that little trick. Okay. Now, if you're a lady following along, and actually I'm going to pop over, even though my screen's going to look ugly. Let me see if anybody's here. Hey, John Curtis and Summer. And of course I said John Curtis because I'm from Virginia. I use two names. Hey, Summer. Summer from up north, but she came to Myrtle Beach and didn't come see me. Okay, I'm hopping back over to the habit tracker. Just wanted to say hey. Okay, so I am now going to make this pretty. So I'm going to go back to my sheet, and these were already pretty, but let me just show you how I did it. So I came up to the top. You have two color functions you can do here. You can fill the cell, and you can also change the font. What I have found is if you write something, let me just show you. I'm going to write the word something like a little smarty pants here. If you write the word something and you color the background dark blue, I don't know about you, but I think that's, excuse me. Come on, baby. It is having a moment. Let me try that again. Okay, I've colored dark blue. I don't know about you, but I think that's incredibly hard to read. So on dark fonts, I have taken a minute to make my, or on dark backgrounds, I've taken a minute to make my font white. And again, I've got my double click to widen trick, but I don't really want that column, so I'm just going to clear it out, okay? And I'm also going to clear my coloring here. If you go back to fill, you have an option for no fill, okay? So take a minute, color these to your heart's content. I'm going to count to 10, and I know that's not enough time, but I don't want to leave people just watching a blank video where nothing happens. So you can always pause this and come back if you're watching the replay. Or you can watch the replay after you're done watching the live. That would be fabulous. Okay. Crossing out, making us happy. Now, there may come a time when you need to print this, or it just helps me visually to have these nice borders here. If you were to print this sheet by going to Excel and printing, or by going over here to File, to the File menu and printing, it would print, but you would not be able to very clearly see where the columns are delineated. So I like to add borders, and I like all borders. So let me just show you that quick trick. I'm going to highlight everything, and I think I had over to column G, yes. I'm going to get all my cells, all my columns, and I'm going to highlight. Again, you know it's highlighted because look at this green outline here, okay? Once it's highlighted, this is your box for borders up here. It looks like a little window pane. And if you will use the drop-down arrow, there's a choice for all borders. What that means is they're going to outline underneath, above, to the right, and to the left of every cell you selected, okay? Just looks really nice and professional that way. And then finally, here's the kicker. This is what Jen asked me about that prompted me to do this whole little video. We're going to finish this, and then don't worry, we still got to go to Sway. Conditional formatting. Excel can meet all kinds of conditions. And what that means is you can say, if this cell meets such and such criterion, then have this effect on it. So if you watch the video I talked about if this then that, it's kind of that situation. If there's this criteria in that cell, this criterion, excuse me, bad grammar, Lolly, then I want this function to happen, okay? So here's what I set up for all of my columns up to the point or down to the point where I could see my habits. So I want you to watch carefully what I'm highlighting here. I'm not highlighting the first column. What I'm highlighting are just the cells above these these habits at the bottom. I can't talk, y'all. I went and worked out and it was miserable, so pardon me. And I had 4 hours of sleep, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But I've highlighted from B through G, so I've skipped the A column all the way down to row 31 because I don't really need colors or anything like that to happen on my days of the month. What I need is every time I have met this habit, I want the box to change colors, okay? So once you've got it highlighted, you're gonna go, guess where, to conditional formatting, and you're gonna drop down that menu. There's so many rules you can set for conditional formatting. Tonight, we're just going to keep it basic, but you play, and I would love for you to come back and share. Oh my gosh, Susie, you inspired me, so I tried this rule, or I tried this, different activity in Excel. That's the goal. I'm just kind of getting you started. But I'm going to go to highlight cells rules. You can say any numbers greater than, less than, blah, blah, blah. That's a lot for math worksheets. I want to highlight any text that contains, and you need to type a symbol that is easy for you to type and that represents, yes, I've completed this. You could use an X, which is the most common. You could use an asterisk, which is also common. Whatever works for you. You could use a period. It's a little unobtrusive, okay? And then what I want to say is, okay, if I have put a period in the box, what should happen? I want it to turn green. Now, again, I'm using the light web app of Excel. So if you want more options, including more colors, custom colors, if you edit in Excel, which is right up here, you would have that. But again, I'm just doing cloud to cloud because I want to put this in Sway. So I'm just going to leave it that way. What I'm saying to the computer is I'm going to give myself a period every time I have met that goal. And when I do, I want you to turn that cell green. I'm going to click OK. Nothing happens because it's waiting for me to meet my condition. So today I did avoid sweet tea, and today is the, help me, 9th day of the month, okay? I'm going to put a period in the box. As soon as I click off of it, it turns green, okay? Let's just say that you did several of the habits today. You avoided dessert, you walked 10 minutes, and y'all don't make fun of me because, as I said in another post, my goal is that if I walk 10 minutes and I'm halfway around the block, I will not sit down on the road. I will actually keep walking. But this is just a way to make myself motivated. It's a Jedi mind trick, okay? But today I did avoid desserts. I did exercise. I did avoid potatoes. Didn't quite hit my water. And I did spend time with Jesus. So I'm going to hold down control, and I can't. Never mind. Okay, I'll come back to that. But anyway, I'm going to highlight those 3, and what am I going to do? I'm going to put a period. You know what? I can't highlight because then I can't type in them separately, okay? But these are the things I did today. And the period is hardly even noticeable, but the green is noticeable. So if I kept on that streak for a while, then I would have all this beautiful green that shows me I've met my goals. Now, it is totally up to you, but you could be mean to yourself, or, maybe you call it being more focused. You could set conditional formatting on those same cells that says, so I'm going to go back and highlight everything again. And I'm going to say on conditional formatting this time, highlight cells that are equal to, if I type an X, which means I did not do the task, it's going to turn red. Okay? So here I go, giving myself an X for drinking water. It looks more pink than red, but you get the point. It's going to turn out to be a really cool visual tracker for your habits. And you know what's even better? You can open this on a phone. The Excel app is totally free. I've checked it on my phone. It totally works. And so if you went over and made yourself a free Office 365 account, or if you have a school account, if you'll sign in with that same information, then you'll be able to open this on your phone. You can put a period in on your phone keyboard. I have verified it, and it will work. One last little trick on making this work, and then we're going to embed it, and then we're done. Let's just say that you've been on a streak, but you haven't recorded it. Maybe you haven't had sweet tea in several days. I'm going to put a period here, and then I'm going to hover on the right side of Excel. What I'm trying to do is hover in the corner. Let me get off of that. Okay. And I'm looking for this black plus. When I get the black plus, if I will click and drag and not let go, you can see I'm outlining everything in green. What I'm telling the computer is, I want you to take the text I wrote in cell 15, in B15, and I want you to copy it all the way down to B22. And when I do, I'm filling a bunch at once. Now, I'm not going to lie to myself, so I'm going to delete that. Okay? Isn't that so cool? And then the last thing I did was I just changed the sheet, and I've got to go back and work on this one. But I just changed the sheet name by right-clicking, saying rename, and call this one February or whatever. And you can, instead of rebuilding, I just rebuilt so that you could watch me do it. But you can take all of this, you can copy and paste and make one for every month. So I hope you'll share with me what your goals are and if you get this going. So let's do the coolest step here. Last week we talked about making your Sway goals visual. So whatever goals you have, Sway is perfect for anything that needs to be visual. So we talked about how to make the Sway itself. And I showed you my habit tracker, but let me quickly show you how to take this habit tracker and embed it in that visual goals sway. You first of all have to get out of editing mode. And I'm sure there's a classier way to do this, but I'm going to be tacky. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go back to Office. Okay. If I refresh the page, then my habit tracker, because I just did it, is probably up here at the top. That's what we're hoping for. There it is. I'm going to click on it. And remember, the first time you click, you're just going into preview mode. So I'm going to click and go into preview mode, and I'm not going to edit the workbook. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the word share, and I'm going to touch embed. Okay. I showed this on a previous video, but you can embed the entire workbook or just arrange. So since I don't really need the whole workbook, let me see what it is I need to copy here. I need the range A1 down to G32. So first letter of the alphabet, first cell, down to last letter of the alphabet, last cell. So y'all help me remember this, A1 to G32. Okay. I'm going to go to share again. I'm going to go to embed. You type it just like this. A1 smushed together, colon, G32, no spaces, okay? And you can decide down here if you need a different width or height or whatever, and you're gonna copy this embed code, okay? When you do, you're gonna X out of that, I don't need it anymore. You're gonna go back to your goal tracking sway that we made last week. If you didn't, you'll have to go back and watch Tech Tuesday #1. And we're going to add an embed card. Okay, so at the very bottom, I've already done that here, but let me just show you the process. If you'll click on the last card you used, you should get a plus sign. And on the plus sign, you are going to look for the embed card, and y'all give me a moment because they actually just changed sway a few weeks ago, and I have not trained on it since then. So media, okay, there it is. It's always this one that looks like 2 brackets with a slash in the middle. So I'm going to click that. It tells me exactly what to do. Paste your embed code here. And now when I go over to design, I see a living, breathing Excel habit tracker. Isn't that so cool? I love it. Again, accessible on your phone, embeddable in Sway. If this helped you, either learning how to make the goals sway or creating the Excel sway tracker or learning conditional formatting, y'all, there's nothing better than hearing good news. So if you would please share that with me, I would love it. And hey, Steve. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Dee. I missed you guys. Hey, Hannah. Because I can't watch you and watch my screen because you see what my screen looks like if I do that. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Please share this video with friends, and I will be back next Tuesday with another Tech Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Also, if you're a Christian or if you're not a Christian but you don't mind hearing me talk about Jesus, I'm starting at 8:30 Truth Tuesday over on the Beam in My Eye. So if you'd like to tune into that with me, I'm going to put the link right here, and it is facebook.com/the Beam in My Eye. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and I'm going to hang up here, and I'll see you at 8:30 over on Truth Tuesday. See ya. Thanks again.